What's going on, people of YouTube? While the LC continues to grab headlines, a lot of people forget that Lexus has a second coupe in the lineup, the RC. We're not immune to that either, since we haven't reviewed an RC since all the way back in 2015. But we're changing that today by checking out this refreshed 2019 model, which has been given a healthy dose of LC influence. Of course, we do want to especially thank our friends at Lexus of Lexington for providing us with this RC. And if you're in the market for any new Lexus, be sure to stop by their dealership or check them out via their website, which we provided a link to in the video description. So with all that said, let's see if the RC has inherited enough of the LC's magic. So starting out here with the exterior updates, they are not extremely dramatic, but they are meaningful. For the first time since the spindle grille was introduced, I can actually say that it has shrank on the new model. And it also contours to the body instead of protruding from it as before. Inside the grille itself, we now have the LC spiderweb design, or you can still get the black mesh by opting for the F-Sport. The headlights have also been toned down this year, since your Arrowhead daytime running light is now housed inside the unit instead of separate. As far as the headlights themselves, they are fully LED, including the turn signal. But like other Lexus models, there is still a fancier looking triple beam layout available as an option. Finally, at the bottom, the fog lights have been eliminated in favor of hidden cornering lamps. As far as the rest of the styling, the side is essentially unchanged, but around back it has changed. Like the front, most of the back panels have been smoothed down a bit, but the change that's actually noticeable is the taillights. They are much less dramatically styled now, and have instead adopted the more premium look from the LC. Everything is LED besides the turn signal. And then at the bottom, both regular and F-Sport models have trapezoid exhaust outlets. Overall, Lexus was successful at making the RC less extreme, and it now looks enough like the LC to draw on its positive image. Now for your wheels, they also gain some LC influence. The standard wheel is an 18-inch alloy, but our model has the more exciting 19-inch 10-spoke contrast alloys. Additionally, F-Sport models will come standard with their own 19-inch wheels, as well as summer tires if you get the rear-wheel drive model. Moving up to the mirrors, all models get the signature 3-tone Lexus finish, and include heating. Beyond that, you have auto dimming and blind spot monitoring available in the premium package or standard on F-Sports. And then of course, like every other Lexus, the entire Safety System Plus suite is standard across the board. So you've got pre-collision braking with pedestrian detection, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, and auto high beam headlights. These of course are features that nearly all the rivals make you pay extra for. Finally, ending things on the outside, you have a pretty large 17.4 gallon fuel tank. I won't go through all the possible combinations, but this RC 300 all-wheel drive can achieve 365 miles of range, and premium fuel is required across the engine spectrum. But anyways, that's pretty much it for the exterior updates. So now let's go ahead and check out what Lexus has changed on the inside.
So the RC does come standard with Lexus' smart entry system and their nice key fob. It is a really premium design and you do have metal trim. Additionally, you can remote start it via the Enform app. So to get in, just grab the handle since there is a sensor behind the door and it will unlock. Now inside the 2019 RC, there's not a huge difference from the 2018 model, but there are some nice touches around the cabin. Now as far as the materials and colors are concerned, we do have 3 different options for this regular model. We have this color, which is known as Playa, and it is new for 2019, and you do also have the option of glazed caramel as well as black. Now if you go for the F-Sport model, you will unlock 3 additional colors, and those are black, circuit red, and white. Now turning over to the door trim, we do have a really nicely appointed door trim. So you do have leather going through all this area up here, as well as some nice color contrast stitching. Additionally, we do have some nice wood trim, as well as 2 fully automatic windows. In addition to that, the premium package adds these 3-person memory seats, and down below we do have a little bit of door storage. Now the seat itself is 10-way power adjusting, and you do also have power lumbar support. Now as far as the seating material itself is concerned, this is Lexus's new Lux faux leather, but you really won't be able to tell a difference between this and the real leather combo, and it does also have a really premium design with color contrast stitching, as well as two-tone. Now, like I said on the outside, the 2019 RC isn't going to be a huge difference in the cabin, but I'd say it really didn't need to be. Now, as far as the materials are concerned, they are top-notch. Above the gauges, we do have a leather area with stitching, and all of the top dash is padded plastic with a really nice graining. Down below that, we do have some more wood trim, and we do also have a new design here for 2019. It's a texturized material that looks a lot more premium here, and we do also have extended leather down where your knee will rest. It's very, very premium materials, and with typical Lexus quality, it does fit together really well. Now to start the RC, just push the standard button. And when you do, you will see the standard 7-inch display on our model, and there is an optional 10.3-inch display available. Now what you're seeing here are the standard gauges. It is an analog setup, and you do have a 4.2-inch multifunction display in the middle. Now if you opt for the RC F Sport, you will get the fancy sliding gauge cluster. But there's definitely nothing wrong with these gauges, and you do have plenty of different controls so you can cycle through your standard information, so your fuel economy, your audio, and all of your standard safety systems as well. Now coming back to the steering wheel, it is this gorgeous leather wrap design on all RCs. On the left, you have your volume and voice controls, and on the right, you have the control for the multifunction display, as well as some of your safety systems. Now, you will also notice on this RC, we do have rain-sensing wipers, which are included in the premium package. Additionally, we do also have paddle shifters, and the steering wheel is power tilt and telescoping on the premium package. Now, obviously, storage isn't a main priority in a sports coupe, but the RC does fare pretty well. Turning over here to the center area, it is a pretty nice big area, and it is also nicely felt lined. In addition to that, you do have 2 charging USB ports, an aux jack, and a 12-volt power outlet. Now in front of that, you will find your Lexus Enform controller, which we will talk about in just a minute. And in front of that, you will also find your different drive modes. So you do have an eco mode, a normal mode, and a sport mode. And when you switch through these, it will illuminate it in the gauges. Now going over to the shifter, Lexus does give you a traditional setup, and it is a really nice leather wrap shifter. So to go into drive, just pull back, and you can click to the left to shift manually. Or you can also use the paddle shifters like I showed you earlier. And when we go into reverse, you will find a standard backup camera with active trajectory. It does also include parking sensors, and the mirrors do tilt down in reverse. Now moving on up, you will notice that we do have 3-stage heated rear seats, as well as 3-stage ventilated seats. This is included in the premium package on this model, but heated seats are standard on all all-wheel drive models. Now coming up to the climate, it is a dual-zone automatic setup. Now you will notice that it's pretty much all physical control, so you don't have to go into the screen or anything like that, and you can adjust your fan speeds as well as your zones. Now to adjust the temperature, it is a little bit of an interesting setup. So you just swipe your finger up for warmer and down for cooler. Now normally I'm not a huge fan of this setup, but this actually works really well. And now let's go ahead and take a sample of the standard 10-speaker audio system that our model has. Now, sound quality in this system is pretty decent, but if you want an upgrade, there is a Mark Levinson audio system available. But that pretty much brings us up to the new Lexus Enform system, so let's go ahead and take a quick look at that.
This is obviously your newest version of the Lexus Enform system. It has the updated graphics and features that have been rolling out over recent Lexuses. It is controlled with the touchpad controller that I showed earlier, and you've got shortcut buttons to take you to your menu and your home screen. So starting out on your home screen, you can customize this to be any 3 things that you want, and you can just click into these things to expand them. Here in the audio, you can play and pause through the standard Bluetooth. And as you can see, you've got a little effect that kind of the blue traces where your hand is going, so that helps you to have a reference point to what you're clicking on. Heading into your menu is where you'll find all your other applications. So you can go into your phone. In here, it defaults to go to your contacts, which automatically sync over. You can search through these, or you can go over here to the side and expand into your messages or your keypad or whatnot. In your apps, these come through the Enform app that you have on your phone, and you can connect to the system via Bluetooth. Or you can now use Apple CarPlay via the projection. So this vehicle, it does not have Android Auto, but it does have Apple CarPlay, and you do also have Amazon Alexa. And then, like I already mentioned at the beginning, you can, of course, get the big 10.3-inch display that comes with navigation, and that also gives you the split screen ability that you've seen in other Lexus models, where you can have the menu and then a secondary screen with other stuff that cycles through. But anyways, that's all I'm going to cover in this video. However, we do have a detailed Enform Tech Help video if you want to learn more. A link to that will be provided in the video description.
Now moving up, we do have an auto-dimming rearview mirror with the compass and HomeLink garage door openers. Now in addition to that, we do also have a moonroof, which is an $1,100 option on this RC. As you can see, it's just a standard size, and it does open up. It actually opens in really good ways, and there is also a wind buffer up there. Overall, I leave really impressed by the 2019 RC. Now, I know there's not a huge difference from the 2018 model, but I'd argue that there didn't really need to be. This is a really upscale cabin that has all of the luxury and features you could ever want. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the rear seats. RC are not the main focus of this car, but they are pretty nice once you get into them. So to actually get in, all you have to do is locate this lever and pull it forward. Now when you do that, Lexus was nice enough to let it automatically slide forward so you don't have to push the button on the seat. And once inside, you're going to find 27 inches of legroom and 35 inches of rear headroom. That puts it on par with most of the luxury sports coupes in the class. So now let's go ahead and get back there and see what it's like for a 5'9" adult. So getting in, the entryway is pretty big, so it's actually not bad to get in. And to fold it back, just do that, and the seat will automatically slide back into place. Alright, and as you can see, the seat is adjusted for Drew's 5'8" driving position, and I do have about an inch of leg room, and my feet can slide up under the seat, although it is getting a little bit cramped down there. Now Lexus was also nice enough to include rear air vents, which a lot in the class do not offer. And here in the center we do have a little storage tray. And the seats, I do want to point out, are extremely comfortable. They're buckets and they are extremely soft. Now up top we do have some LED lighting. Of course you have a beautiful headliner. And coming down, Lexus was nice enough to include a leather padded armrest with even a stitching detail. So they did a really good job on the fit and finish here in the rear. But overall, I'm actually really impressed with the RC's rear seat. It is a little cramped back here, but it's finished really nicely. The seats are very comfortable, and you do also have plenty of luxury amenities. And to get out, just grab this handle and fold forward. Now coming around to the trunk, just locate the button under the lid to open it up. Now once inside of the RC's trunk, you're going to find another large amount of space. It's actually rated at 10.4 cubic feet, which is pretty good for the class. Now obviously you can't really see much because it is covered up by this big box, but this is a good example of how much stuff you can fit back here. This is a quite large box, and there is plenty of room for a big long floor mat here. Now the seats themselves do also fold. All you have to do is locate, there's a little switch up here in the front. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a switch, and all you have to do is unlock it and then fold it down. Now we will talk about the pricing here in a minute. Passenger seat is that same beautiful design. I really love the color of this leather, and it is also 8-way power adjusting. Now in front of the passenger, it is a luxury car after all, so you do have a padded dashboard, nice metal air vent. Down below that, you do have a good-sized glove box. It is dampened, and up top we do have a sun visor with a mirror and light. And it does also detach and extend. Alright guys, that covers all I'm going to talk about up here. So now let's go ahead and get to the real reason you buy an RC, the powertrain. Alright, so in the refreshed 2019 RC, you're not going to see any different powertrain modifications. So you're still going to have 3 different engines, 2 of which are very related to each other. So your base engine comes in the RC300 rear-wheel drive, and that's a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. That engine produces 241 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. Now you also have this engine, which is in the RC300 all-wheel drive. Now the all-wheel drive upgrades you to a V6 engine, but it still has a lower output than the RC350. Now this engine produces 260 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque. So like I said, it is a lower output version than the RC350. Now the top dog RC350 comes in rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, and that model produces 311 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. You do also have 2 different transmissions. You have an 8-speed automatic, which is in most models, or a 6-speed automatic in this RC300 all-wheel drive. Alright, now as far as fuel economy is concerned, the RC is pretty good. Now obviously your best fuel economy is going to come in the RC300 rear-wheel drive, which has the 2-liter turbo, and that comes in at 24 combined. And if you opt for the RC300 all-wheel drive, which is the one that we have, that's going to drop down to 21 combined. And the RC350's fuel economy ranges from 21 combined with all-wheel drive to 23 combined with rear-wheel drive. Well guys, we hope you enjoyed watching the first in-depth look at the 2019 Lexus RC300. Stay watching for a quick look at the pricing, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons below. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.